Velina mai kako, welcome to Keep It Aloha, a podcast that keeps it aloha by acting in TV shows and movies instead of acting up. I'm your host Kamaka, and when you act in movies and shows, you get praised, but when you act up, you get lickings, so don't act up. We got an awesome guest today, but before we introduce her, I gotta remind you to check out keepitaloha.com to get your official KIA merch, just like this. We have hoodies, shirts, and hats waiting to be worn by you. We're an independent podcast, and all funds go to helping us run this podcast and bring you the best quality content every week. If supporting this podcast with money is not for you, though, but you still love listening to us, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It would mean the world to me. We have a super awesome episode today with one of the biggest actors from Hawaii. She has great energy. She's so funny. You're going to have a great time learning about her life and all the amazing things that she has done. So sit back, relax, get some popcorn. Make sure you have the lihimui and the arere and enjoy the episode. All right, let's introduce our guest. Support for this podcast comes from Texaco in Hawaii, which features 58 convenient locations across the state. Fueling up at Texaco is fast and easy when you use the Texaco mobile app to pay at the pump. The Texaco mobile app is a contactless way to pay for fuel so you can get in and out of the gas station quickly. Fuel your car and fuel yourself. Pick up your favorite local snacks and ice cold drinks at your neighborhood Texaco today. Texaco at Techron, driving performance. Our guest today is an actress from the island of Oahu. She is a former fashion model and beauty queen who was crowned Miss Teen USA in 1985, becoming the pageant's third title holder in history and its first Asian American winner. She then won Miss Hawai'i USA in 1993, becoming the first former Miss Teen USA to win a Miss USA state title. As an actress, she starred in numerous films including The Scorpion King, Cradle to the Grave, X2, Finding Ohana, and TV shows like The Vampire Diaries, the CW series Arrow, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Disney Channel's animated series Phineas and Ferb, and currently BMF on Starz. This avid poker fan and activist also co-hosts a podcast called Shoes Off Inside, a show that rattles cages and dismantles tired old stereotypes about race, age, sex, and culture. I am so stoked to talk stories with her today. Her name is Kelly Hu. Aloha, Kelly. Welcome to the Keep It Aloha podcast. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you for making the drive out over here and taking time off of your... I don't know, is this vacation?
A little of both. I'm mainly here for my brother's 60th birthday.
Yes, who is classmates with my mom.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Isn't that so funny?
World, yeah.
I know, that's Hawaii, right? Everything in Hawaii is like so closely related.
Yeah.
That's why you got to watch yourself.
Exactly.
But mainly I'm here for that, to celebrate my brother, and then, you know, putting a little bit of work in here and there so I can write it off, right?
Exactly. Business expense. Everything's a business expense.
Exactly.
That's
that pocket in me will not let that,
that's
my
favorite
slide.
part about being an entrepreneur is like, oh, this lunch is a business expense. This trip is a business expense. Everything's a business expense.
I'm like, we talked creative.
Yeah, exactly. Well, how's your trip going so far?
Really good, except I got the flu.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's been going around.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I was kind of hoping that it was COVID so I could just get it over with, you know. But now I got the flu over with. So when I do my next trip to Europe next week already, then it won't be, you know, I won't be as scared to get sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got some immunities.
I got some. I hope.
Yeah. Hopefully there's nothing else out there in Europe.
I know. I'm the worst. Yeah. If it's out there, I'll find it.
Okay. Hopefully not though. But it's great to have you in our studio. We've been talking back and forth for a little bit. I know you're super busy. I think last time I talked to you, you said you were in Georgia filming. Was it Georgia?
Yeah, I was in Atlanta filming that series, BMF, Black Mafia Family.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I was in Georgia last year, I think in September or October, filming a TV show called We Are Family with Anthony Anderson.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
Isn't he so funny?
He's super funny.
And
Him and his
nice.
mom. Like,
yes.
Their banter, they're just like, kind of like you get lickings talking to your mom over here, but like that's just how they talk. They're like, "Mom, shut up!" Like, "Son, why are you talking to me?" Like, yeah, it's so funny. But I didn't know that they filmed a lot in Atlanta. I guess it's
Yeah.
becoming like a really popular spot to film movies and TV shows. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Atlanta, for a long time, I guess Tyler Perry has his own studio out there, and they do things very differently. But I guess it's a right to work state, so like unions and stuff like
Okay,
that. You don't
yeah.
necessarily have to be union. And they have a lot of incentives out there. So Atlanta, Vancouver, hopefully Vegas will
Oh,
be that
nice.
soon because Sony is building their studio, and I just moved out to Vegas. So
Oh, okay,
I'm
awesome.
hoping that something happens out there, and then I can get on a show out there, and I don't have to move.
And you'll be close to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Well, you basically be in Hawaii.
I'm like exactly totally Ninth Island. So the day that I moved, all my trucks came with all my stuff from LA. I had 5 classmates from Kamehameha
Oh, wow.
come to help me unload. It was amazing. I mean, and like 3 of them that I haven't even seen since high school. But only Hawaiians will do that for you.
They'll come together. Yeah.
Right? Most
Yeah.
people in the mainland, especially, when you say you're moving, they don't answer their phones, right? But this one, you don't even have to call them.
Yeah.
Hawaiians just come and they help and they kokua. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's the kind. Oh, I heard you moving. You need help.
Yes.
Yeah, or they
yes.
just show up.
Or
yeah.
they just
Yeah,
show up.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that about our culture. Well, I'm excited to get to know more of your life story. I know as much as I can from the internet about you. But
Don't believe everything.
Yeah. But I'm excited to, hear your life story. So let's start at the beginning. Where are you from? Where you grad? And what was it like growing up?
So I've always been a townie. Most of my life. I did have 2 years growing up on Maui with my grandparents. It's like my parents got divorced and then I got shipped off to Maui. And then I came back to Oahu and mostly grew up in like Nu'uanu, Makiki, that area. And then I went to Kamehameha, of course, because, your mom. And then I moved to the mainland right after high school.
Did you go for college or you just went?
No, I never went to college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went to Los Angeles right after getting cast on Growing Pains here in Hawaii. And it was something, acting was always something that I wanted to do. And so I just thought the timing was perfect. I packed up my bags right after shooting, before the show even aired.
Wow.
Yeah, and I moved to
Ready.
Los Angeles.
Awesome. So what were you into before that? Was it just acting throughout your life, or did you have extracurricular sports?
You know
theater?
what I did do for a long time? Roller skating.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
At where?
At Roller World. You won't even remember
yeah,
that.
I
You
don't
were
know.
not even born. Yeah, the rink. Yeah,
Okay.
all the rinks that were in town. I was a competitive roller skater. I was terrible. I was not
But you were
any
competitive.
good. But I was competitive. Exactly.
You tried it.
But my mom let me do it because she was a single mom,
Mm.
working 3 jobs, and it was a safe environment for me, and cheap enough that she could buy me like a 1-month pass, and it would just keep me busy for the whole month.
It was like daycare.
Yeah, it was my daycare for sure.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. And then how did you first get into acting?
The only training back then was my high school drama class. I took drama for 8 semesters in high school with Mr. Bertino, who recently passed away. Yeah, but I moved up to Los Angeles with just the training from Mr. Bertino from high school drama.
Wow.
And just kind of stumbled my way through. I did a lot of modeling and commercials and stuff like that here in Hawaii too before I left, because it was the 80s back then, and a lot of Japanese were coming and doing like their national campaigns and stuff. So I did a lot of work for the Japanese, and I got a lot of on-camera experience, and then winning Miss Teen as well gave me a lot of experience, and the opportunity arose and I just took it. I didn't go to college because I was like,
You
why
already
waste
knew-
my money?
Yeah, you already know what you wanted to do.
I was already doing what I would have done, that like I could have gone to college and studied theater
Yeah.
and all of that stuff. But I always tell everybody, that not going to college and not having kids and not getting married were the best financial decisions I ever made.
Yeah. I know. I saw something on YouTube where you talked about not having kids.
Yeah.
And you say that you have the best life ever.
I do.
'Cause you don't gotta wake up.
I do. I mean, I have a dog now, but
Okay.
I can just pawn my dog off on my parents, right? Because they have a dog too. And so it gives me, the freedom to just travel and do all kinds of stuff. And also, when you're an actress, it's really hard to raise kids, especially if you were on your own, which I suspect would probably happen to me, is I would end up being a single mom. And, just trying to raise kids, even with a partner, is hard enough. But when you have to travel, go on location, be gone for months, it's tough. And, it's tough on you, it's tough on the kids, it's tough on the whole family. So, I chose to be single, and I've never regretted it.
Yeah, when I was with my ex last year, we broke up in August, and it was because I came to the decision that I didn't want kids.
Oh.
So, yeah, and I'm 31 right now. So people were surprised by that decision because I'm pretty young, and that's just like the style in Hawaii. You'll have kids and kind of the progression of life, right? You go to school, go to college, get a job, meet somebody, get married, have kids.
Right.
So I made that decision, and I was open about it on the podcast with everybody.
But here's the thing, though, it might change. This is your decision for right now.
That's what everybody's saying. And I think, it could, I definitely don't want now. If anything, I'll be like an older, my current girlfriend, she doesn't want kids right now. So if anything, I'd be like an older dad or something.
And that's fine.
Yeah. I just feel like, man, we have so much freedom. Because I'm at the age where all my friends are having kids.
Yeah.
And my siblings and all of that. So I'm just like, that does not look fun.
No, but here's the thing. I mean, I've come close because I was with somebody for 12 years, and we actually froze embryos because he wanted to have kids, and well, he was a musician, or he is a musician, I should say, and I was like, why do you want to do this? And he was like, well, just in case we change our minds, at least we have the option. Because we were already in our 40s. And so I did freeze embryos. And so I had these embryos kind of sitting around with nowhere to go. And after we broke up, the agreement was that I would get to keep it because he could be a dad at any time in his life. I mean, look at, Rod Stewart and
I think Robert De Niro, right?
Robert De Niro, all these guys. Yeah. I mean, if you can afford it and you have somebody who wants to have sex with you at that age, then go for it. But I had these embryos, and I was like, I don't know what to do with them. And so I was looking actually for a gay couple that I wanted to donate them to, a mixed race, like, Asian, Caucasian. And I found the perfect couple. But and I wanted to look for somebody who would allow me to stay in the lives of the kids, so that I could be like a fairy godmother or something. I don't know what you would call it. But as it turns out, the doctors said I was too old when it got harvested, so they wouldn't do the implant. But my whole point is that Ohana is what you make it nowadays, especially. So my idea was I could be an auntie to this little family that we created through my embryos with somebody, a gay couple, and who knows what you build as a family, these days. It could be anything and whatever works for you at the time. As long as the kids are taken care of and are healthy and have a good, positive environment, it doesn't matter who their parents are.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't matter if you have to go to Kualoa Ranch and find hidden treasure and not take it. As long as you make Ohana yours.
Right? What a good segue. Nice.
Finding Ohana. Available now on Netflix. Not an ad. No, but yeah, that's so true. I mean, as you get older, like friends are just family you choose, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome because like you just keep adding to your extended Ohana, and now you have just this big network of people that care about you and you care about them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. This whole like family unit, is like, that's still happening, of course. But there's so many additions to the building nowadays, right? It's
Yeah.
like not just one unit. It's like all these extensions that you can add on and create your own hale.
Yeah, especially if you have siblings and they start having kids too.
Yeah.
You got all the nieces and nephews, parents are happy, it takes a little pressure off of you as well.
Yeah, my mom never did pressure me. I think she knew. I think she just knew. It's
Yeah,
like,
you're kind of like an
I was already
independent,
pawning my
free
dog
spirit.
off on her. She's like, I don't need Kiki running around either. I'm old.
My girlfriend keeps trying to convince us to get a cat and a dog.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or cat first and then dog.
Oh, cat is like
Yeah.
the easy
That's
transition.
that's what they say. But I just don't like the fur everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
that's a
know.
thing. That's a thing. You
Yeah.
can get one black cat.
Yeah, like, or one of those hairless cats. But they're pretty ugly.
Those things are so ugly.
Yeah.
They're cute.
I
Like,
guess, yeah, that's true.
they look kind of scary though. Yeah.
At what age did you decide on this? Like that you
On
knew
what?
for sure that you didn't want to get married, you didn't want kids, you wanted to be alone. Or not alone, but just like
because I'm definitely
Single.
not
Yeah,
alone. I
yeah,
have
yeah.
tons of friends. I think it was just something that it wasn't like a specific thing that happened. I just always knew that it was not going to be convenient for my life. It was not going to be my choice. And I didn't want to have kids just for the sake of having kids because everybody else was doing it. And I just didn't feel that it was a necessary part of my life. I think kids are really, really hard, even if you really, really, really want them. And I just never really found that biological need. I don't know, why. I've just never been a conformist either.
Yeah.
So
I'm similar to you.
yeah. So for me, it was, a choice. It was not as though, it was something that I had to do because everybody else was doing it.
Yeah, I felt like when I came to the decision that, or I accepted it, like maybe I'll have kids in the future, but I'm okay without having kids. And as soon as I came to that realization and I came to the conclusion that I can just do whatever I want with my life, like I'm an adult.
Yeah.
Like, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And
You
I
can
think-
make your own choices.
Yeah, exactly. So once I got to that point, it was very liberating. And I
Right?
just felt like I was really at peace and I had that freedom.
Yeah.
And I think it's so much better than, having that looming pressure of like trying to make others happy.
Yeah.
Or like you don't want to disappoint them or, you want to, make sure that you're being a good son, friend, partner, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, at the end of the day, like it's your choice. You're the one who
Yeah.
has to live with the consequences, not everybody else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that a lot of people, they do it because everybody else is doing it or because they want it, like you're saying, making other people happy. And that's just like the wrong reason to do anything.
Yeah.
I think there's so many more people nowadays who are making the choice not to have kids that I think Elon Musk was saying, right, that our world is in danger, that everybody
It really
needs to
is.
be multiplying.
Yeah, no. Like, why would you even want to bring them into this world?
Right?
Like, there's so much going on. I mean, it's a great life. We live great lives, and we're in one of the beautiful places on earth.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean,
yes.
the times we live in today are hard and scary, and there's
I think
so much
everybody
going on.
thinks that though, when they're, whatever that generation is, there's very few people who are like, oh, the world is so great right now. Everybody, you got the Cold War, you got some kind of wars going on, you got economic problems, racial discriminations, all kinds of stuff. It's never a perfect time to have kids. You just do it, right?
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you want to do it. I think, because also your biological clock is not going to line up with the world being perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you're ever going to be ready for anything in life, like fully ready,
Yeah.
100% prepared.
Yeah.
I think you just kind of go for it and you figure it out as you go.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think the problem is social media in a sense that everything is more, there's more coverage on everything. So
Yes.
we think there's way more violence, way more struggle, way more whatever, but it's just because we see it more.
Exactly.
Back in, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, there wasn't social media. If you saw it on the news, that's what
Right.
your knowledge was. And then the internet and the social media,
Right.
So I
Right.
think that's a part of the problem as well.
Yeah. Although I do think that homelessness, for instance, feels like it's more now.
Definitely.
You know, because you see it, right? You see it out on the street and, you know, in your backyard sometimes. So I think that is one thing that also, you know, with homelessness comes a little bit more petty thefts and, you know, small crimes and things like that. Drugs, I think, are getting more intense
One thing
these
leads
days.
to another.
Yeah. So yes, those kind of things were always there, but I think there are certain areas where it is magnified a little bit more.
Totally.
Yeah.
Especially here when we have all these high rises coming up, cost of living going up, and then either you move away or go live on the beach.
Yeah,
or
come to the
whatever.
9th Island. We take care of you.
Yeah, exactly.
We help you move.
Yeah. See, go over there, take whatever life savings you have, go to the casino, throw it all on black, double it up. And if you lose all your money, just come back. Just make sure you have enough money for a one-way trip back to Hawaii so you can live on the beach. Because it's probably better to be homeless here than Vegas.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Vegas gets
that's
cold
my
too,
advice,
man.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, right now I think it's like 110 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And it's dry heat, yeah.
Yeah, it is dry heat, which makes a little bit of a difference, but still, it's hot.
And
it's
not
still
comfortable.
crazy. No, it's not. You know, it's ridiculous. Yeah. And you know what I just found out after moving and buying a house in Vegas? I just found out that Vegas has a monsoon season.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
In July, August,
I
they get
really think
they
that.
get rains, and I don't think it's all that much rain, but there's no drainage over there.
Oh, so
you
just
get
floods.
tons of floods.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never really think it. It's because it's like a desert, pretty
It
much.
is a
right?
desert,
Yeah.
but I think they're just not equipped to handle the rain that they get in this weird little monsoon season that
Even
they
on
have.
Oahu, lots of places on Oahu not equipped for the floods. I don't know if you're here maybe a month or two
I
ago.
heard.
So much rain, and everything's like Waikiki was all flooded.
I
Hilo
heard.
gets rain, but you know we can handle it. We're used to it.
Right.
But here was bad.
Right.
Yeah, even
right.
my girlfriend's house was flooding too.
Wow.
Yeah,
I heard, people were like surfing on the
Yeah.
Kalakaua or something. Yeah.
I like seeing that stuff. Though. It's like, it's us making the best out of the situation, right?
You're like,
Yeah.
go Hawaiians.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, so going back to when you were still living here, you did the Miss Teen USA, became the first Asian American to win. And then you weren't sure that you were going to win because, you know, that was a time when I think you said or your mom said
My
that
mom said.
People weren't ready for Asians in this world.
Yeah,
right?
she said before I hopped on the plane, she said, don't cry now when you don't win because America is not ready for an Oriental Miss Teen USA. Back then we still used the word Oriental,
okay.
yeah. And my response was, that's so old-fashioned. Nobody thinks like that anymore. This is 1985. Because I had no experience with that, you know.
You've never left Hawaii before that?
I did briefly, you know, little trips here and there. I went on, you know, I went to Muncie, Indiana for the International Thespian Conference in sophomore year for drama. But, you know, it was never it was never in my head that was even a thing. I just always felt like we were more special because we were so different. You know, coming from Hawaii especially. And whenever anybody always finds out, anybody in the world who, you know, you talk to, and when you say that you're from Hawaii, everybody's like, oh, wow. You know, like, and so I always went out with the idea that, you know, coming from Hawaii, looking like I'm from Hawaii was more special than a hindrance, you know? And so when I went into the pageant, I wasn't thinking, oh, I'm Oriental and I'm going to be different and they're not going to like me. My whole idea was, well, yeah, I'm from Hawaii and I'm going to bring the aloha and I'm going to, you know, wear the flower in my hair and the leis. You know, my mom sent me up with a cooler of leis and flowers that I could wear, like fresh flowers. And even like when these girls were dressing for like all these events, I remember one in particular where we had to meet the press, and we were going. It was at somebody's house. It was in Miami, and this event was at somebody's house, and they had this beautiful like marble columns outside, and marble entryway. And the first thing I did, I took off my shoes and I'm walking around barefoot. And by the way, all these girls are in their like sequins dresses and, like taffeta and whatnot. And I show up in my mu'u because in Hawaii, back then we were still wearing mu'us. Not anymore. Yeah, so sad.
Yeah.
But
there's a little movement coming back. There are some people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
I know some people.
So yeah, I showed up in my mu'u with my kukui nut lei and my haku and I remember taking off my shoes. So I'm like barefoot while all these other girls are in their sequins dresses. And as soon as I walked in and the photographers saw this girl with all these flowers and the mu'u and barefoot, they started snapping all these pictures of me. And I ended up on the front page of, the newspaper in Miami after that. I also became like one of the most hated girls in the pageant because of it. They thought I did it as like a publicity stunt, right? But I had no idea. To me, this was what formal wear was. I had to save my good stuff for pageant night. But yeah, so I always felt like, being different was a bonus. That, I was like, great, I don't look like all of these other Barbie dolls. I'm going to stand out. And so I came in with a whole different kind of attitude. And I think that helped me with my acting career as well. When I met a lot of other Asian actors on the mainland, and there would be like these little indie films and stuff like that were maybe not that great, but it was like all Asian productions, and my Asian friends were like, you got to do it for the cause. And I'm like, what cause? Like, I don't know what you're talking about, because I never felt like I had to, I don't know, apologize for being Asian. It was never in my bones that that was a hindrance at all.
Yeah, especially coming from Hawaii, where the minority is the majority.
Yeah.
Where I would say like 3/4 of us have some sort of Asian, right? We're all mixed.
Yeah.
But I think of like all my friends that I have here, I would say like 9 out of 10 have some sort of Asian.
Right?
Right?
Exactly.
So going to a place where it's not really accepted, it's a little bit more separated, segregated, where you got the Mexicans, African Americans, the Asian, even within the Asian community, it's separate, right? The Koreans, the Chinese, the Vietnamese, So here we're just like
everybody one
big
time,
pot of beef stew, right?
Exactly.
So did you notice that as soon as you got to LA, and did that ever affect you?
When I first got to LA, I mostly hung around this like international jet set crowd, because the girl who won Miss USA the same year that I was Miss Teen USA, she went to school in Switzerland. She went to one of those super ritzy schools in Switzerland. And she and I moved to Los Angeles at the same time. I remember she actually was helping me with an audition, and when I was Miss Teen, while I was Miss Teen, I had this audition, and we were on tour, and I was asking her to help me run lines, and she's like, why do you want to be an actress? She's like, are you kidding me? And then next thing you know, she's moving to Los Angeles to be an actress.
It's always those people, right?
We ended up on the same soap opera, though, at one point.
Oh,
It
nice.
was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's still my good friend to this day. But yeah, I didn't really hang out with a lot of other actors or people in the Asian community. There definitely wasn't an Asian community within the industry. And so there was no one to really network with in that respect. And so I was mostly just hanging around this international jet set crowd, and it opened my eyes to like a whole world out there. It was big. I mean, it was eye-opening enough just to move to the mainland, but then to be hanging out with all of these people from all over the world, Europe and the Middle East, and in Asia. I mean, it was just like I learned so much about this giant world out there, and it gave me so much more opportunity to travel all over the world. You can just call up your friend and say, "Hey, I'm coming to visit," or your friends are like, "We're gonna go here. Let's go," and you would scrounge up your money, all your pennies, and go. And so yeah, it wasn't as though I was like noticing a lot of what was going on it wasn't until much later when I started auditioning for these like indie films and stuff like that, and making more friends in the business, and that I started understanding that there was a divide, that there was this history that I was not aware of, with Asians on the mainland, and even the discrimination, that because I guess also when you're from Hawaii, and also when you're a young pretty girl, like people are less likely to be prejudiced or racist, right? And then of course I was hanging out with this international crowd, so we were all foreigners, we were all different, so that kind of zeroed everything out. Yeah,
that's a really good point. I feel like over here we're probably more prejudiced to white people.
Yeah, I think even still now, right? Because
Yeah.
of the history, and but I think it's not just white people, but I think it's anybody who doesn't respect the culture. Anybody who comes to Hawaii and thinks that they can just throw money around and treat people like garbage because they're rich, or because they think they're better than you, because they're, for whatever reason. I think those are the people that we don't like.
The haules.
The haules.
As in the term foreigner.
Right.
Yeah.
But haole, is not necessarily a derogatory term, but it's the ones who just don't care, who don't know that Hawaii is more than just Waikiki and, hula, Kodak hula show. Is that even a thing still?
I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah. I know Kimo Kahoano has a hula show in
Right?
Waikiki
Oh,
these days.
okay. Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. But I'm so proud of the Hawaiian community that has come together and really has had this resurgence. Because when I left Hawaii, back in the 80s, it wasn't there yet. And, the Hawaiian was a dying language. I remember I only knew one person that could speak Hawaiian, and that was like the Hawaiian teacher in Kamehameha. And then I only knew two people that were of pure Hawaiian blood. And one was my brother's friend's mom, and then one girl in my class who was from Kauai. But other than that, I had never met anybody who was pure Hawaiian.
Yeah.
And so, I was just sort of, I just thought that our culture, our language would just eventually evolve and die out. But I'm so proud to see all of these young people picking up the language and culture, and really making sure that this doesn't ever die. Yeah,
and I appreciate that a lot more Hawaiian is being used in media, in everyday life. Yes, so I was part of the Hawaiian language resurgence. I went to Hawaiian immersion school.
Oh wow.
In the 90s, and then yesterday I went to get coffee at this place for my girlfriend at Bean About Town. I think that's the name. It's in Kaimuki. And they have this sign where it says all the Hawaiian words, how you can order in Hawaiian. Order your coffee in Hawaiian. And I guess the guy I met before, I met him at UH or something. he's like, hey, do you remember me? I got you a Jamba Juice or something. 'Cause I was tabling one time, and he came up to me because he watches the podcast, and he got me a Jamba Juice. So shout out to Mana'o if you're watching this. And so he started speaking Hawaiian to me, and he pointed at the sign, and it was just so cool to see that. And I mentioned, earlier on other episodes on the podcast, how when I was in the Hawaiian immersion school, there was about 100 kids from kindergarten to 12th grade in the whole entire school. And then when I got back in like 2019, there was over 500 students when my little brother was in the same school. So
that's
just
so
the
awesome.
growth, to be able to see that and be a part of that.
Yeah.
And see the progress that we've been making over the last 30 years with the Hawaiian language immersion schools. Super cool. Super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, because Kamehameha schools, I guess they did what they could as far as teaching, Hawaiian history. You had only like one semester or 1 year of Hawaiian language, and but you cannot rely on just one school to do all that work of trying to keep it, alive. So yeah, kudos to everybody out there who is making the effort and really living the life, of a true Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think more schools are implementing Hawaiian language courses. And even we had Star Doll Thurston. She's the previous Miss Hawaii. She just gave up her crown. She was saying that now they're requiring Miss Hawaii to take Hawaiian language
Great.
classes.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, so it's cool. We see the progress. That's progress being made.
Hawaiian language and Hawaiian history.
Yeah, I think that's a big one too, Hawaiian history.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you're not in like a Hawaiian immersion school, I think normal schools probably get like a little bit of it, just like the overthrow and stuff like that. People outside of Hawaii get like a page, right?
Yeah. They don't know. They don't know. And
maybe Pearl Harbor, that's probably what they learn.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all they know is Pearl Harbor. That's why I guess you get so many people visiting the Arizona Memorial, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But and not that many people visiting Iolani Palace.
Yeah,
because they just don't know.
Bishop Museum.
Yeah.
All these other places. Even Kualoa Ranch. I didn't know this. I went there to meet some people a couple weeks ago, and I didn't know that's where like the story of Papa and Wakea, like the first. There's a story of like Papa and Wakea. They had the child and it was stillborn, and they planted it in the ground and it became the first taro.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's
That's at Kualoa, and I didn't know it was at Kualoa. And I even like the whole history of it. Well, hope I don't get it wrong, but I think a doctor came to Hawaii, Morgan. He came when it was like the measles epidemic. There's a lot of diseases, and he helped a lot of people get better. And so King Kamehameha sold the land to him for like $1,000 or something back then.
Which was a lot back then.
Which is a lot, yeah, something like that. And that became Kualoa, and they really make it a point to preserve it and make it this cultural site. Places like that, Kualoa, Polynesian Cultural Center, as locals, we feel like, touristy,
right.
Disneyland of Hawaii kind of thing. But I've been to those places in the last couple of years, and I didn't realize how educational it was.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to love going to Polynesian Cultural Center.
It's so cool. It's
so much fun,
cool.
right?
Yeah.
And they have one mean luau.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. They know how to potty.
Right.
Yeah.
Those Mormons.
Yeah.
Go.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just cool. We don't realize how much history is around us.
Oh yeah.
And like people outside of Hawaii don't know, but even people here, we don't even know like street names and the history behind street names. There's so much that we can learn.
Yeah.
That as much as you think you know already, there's so much more to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Hawaii is so rich in history and storytelling, right? And it's just such a fun culture to dive into. That tourists, they come here, they just want the sun, they want a Mai Tai, which is not even from Hawaii, and they just want to sit pineapples, right? They sit on the beach and they're like, oh, Hawaii is so great. It's like, you don't even know the half of it, girl. You don't even know like the surface of it.
Yes.
Yeah, you have no idea of just how amazing Hawaii is. But that's why I think it's so awesome now that they're doing more films and shows that are being shot here. Hawaii Five-0, did a lot of, history. And I didn't even know that there were internment camps here before. watching Hawaii Five-O.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's so much that I'm still learning because I left pretty early. I left when I was, just a teenager still. And so I'm constantly, coming back and just amazed at like the changes that I'm seeing and the evolution of Hawaii.
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you think you'll ever be back here permanently, or you like this having this as like your place to visit?
Hawaii is always going to be my home. It's always going to be where my heart is, it's never going to be anywhere else. I love Los Angeles. I do. And I was there for 38 years.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, it was a long frigging time, a big chunk of my life. But Hawaii is, it's always going to be special to me. But I don't know if I can come back here to live. I mean, we'll see. My parents don't want to. And, right now we're all in Vegas. They actually moved to Vegas 5 years ago. And that's why I moved to go take care of my parents, because my mom is 85. My stepdad is 83. So, it was time. I bought one big house so they can come move in with me. I'm like, some days regretting already, and they haven't even moved in yet. But most days I'm so thankful to just still have them around and be able to, do stuff with them. And, it's part of our culture. Yeah. We don't stick our parents in, in homes. We take them in and we take care of them.
Yeah, definitely. I love that about us. Ohana is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Vegas has a really strong Hawaiian community anyways.
Yeah.
So it's like when you're moving there, it's basically like
you're kind of halfway there.
Coming back over here. But I feel like you might be similar to me, where I'm from Hilo, from the Big Island. I like living over here. This is like my LA.
Oh, okay.
There's more opportunity, more things to do, more independence for me. Because when I go to Hilo, and I go maybe like once a month, every other month, there's always family stuff going on. I was just there a couple of days ago. When I go there, and I love seeing my family, I love being there, getting away from the concrete jungle. But there's a lot of familial obligations, like, can you come to this thing? Can you pick up this?
Yes.
Can you help with this? And I love that. But when you're really busy, like you are, and I have so many things going on over here, it's hard to just like be there for a while and actually live there and have to do all those things, because it's going to take away from all the things that I'm trying to accomplish in my career.
Yeah. I kind of feel that way in Vegas because so many people come through Vegas and everybody wants you to go see them on the strip, and and things are expensive there. It's not like, it used to be. When I was growing up, I mean, in, Los Angeles, when I was there, when I was like 18, 19 years old, and I would go to Vegas to see my mom, because my mom loves to gamble. Yeah. She was always there. Back in those days, we had like the 50-cent shrimp cocktail and the $5.99 all you can eat buffet, and, restaurants were even cheap. Everything was, the casinos were what, financed all of Vegas. But that is not the case anymore. Now you got all these expensive shows and restaurants. So, even like a ticket to go see something, a band play at the Sphere is like $500-something. And that's the ticket price. If you can get it at that, it's mostly scalpers, right? So you're paying like $1,000 for a ticket. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So it's not, every time like people are like, oh yeah, come visit me. I'm staying at, this hotel. It's like $45 to park sometimes, and you're like, oh, and then you gotta, pay for like a couple $100 dinner and drinks and a show. And, you're spending thousands of dollars every time your friends come to visit and everybody's coming to visit. So yeah, it's I understand what you're saying. It kind of gets in the way. It's a financial burden sometimes, but everybody comes through Vegas.
Yeah.
So it's so good to see. I try to encourage people to come off the strip and come to my house, in Henderson. I'm outside of Vegas, like just 20 minutes. I'm like, I'll pay for your Uber. It's cheaper for me to pay for your Uber and for us to just go eat someplace in Henderson.
your pocket came out so hard in that last for 2 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, save money. My step grandma lives in Vegas, and she's at the casino almost every single day. So she basically eats for free because she's there all the time, and then they just treat her. And
Right, but it's not free.
Yeah, it's not free. Yeah.
Same with my
but
mom
I
too.
feel like she always wins. She always plays the Keno machines. I think
good
that's what
for
it's called,
her.
Keno. Yeah, but actually, I don't know. Because I feel like, same with social media, right? You share your highlights.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be like, hey, I just won $5,000, or you're not gonna be like, hey, I just had a bad day on social media, right?
Right,
so
right.
I guess we only know about the good times.
Yeah. No, my mom, she's been playing as long as I could remember. And she always plays the quarter poker. And she's never really strayed much from that. That's her thing. That's been her thing for decades. And only recently did she ever hit like the progressive, not the progressive, but the jackpot, the consecutive, where you get the what do you call, all in a row from 10 to ace.
Wow.
Yeah, suited all in a row. And she won like almost $20,000.
Oh, like Royal Flush?
Yeah, a royal
Yeah,
flush,
yeah.
but consecutive,
Wow.
like sequential. Is that what they call it?
Okay,
Sequential
I'm not
jackpot.
sure.
And so she won almost $20,000. I'm like,
wow.
so are you like even almost? And she was like, oh no.
No, you
I was
always
like,
lose more than you ever
oh,
win.
there goes my inheritance.
Yeah.
I was like, as long as she's happy, I'm happy. You know,
Yeah. They say the house always wins.
always.
Exactly. So
Except if you're playing poker and you're really good, then
Yeah.
you're not playing the house.
So is that how you got into playing poker? And
I got into playing poker. Well, I've always known how to play poker ever since I was a small kid because my parents used to have poker games at the house.
Nice.
And so I always knew, the idea of poker, but I never knew how to bet until I was an adult. And it was, around the same time that it was like that big wave where everybody was learning. I don't think you were even born yet. You're too young. But this was like, back in, I guess, like the 2000s, early 2000s or something.
okay.
And
Well, I was 93.
Oh,
I was when
okay.
you won Miss Hawai'i.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, 93.
So actually, you know who was the one who got me on my first poker game, poker tournament? Was Lance Bass.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's random.
we were at this one charity event, and I didn't know how to like really bet that well yet, and he was like, come, we'll play the same hand. And so we sat at the same chair, and he taught me like how to bet, and we were like whispering in each other's ears and stuff like that. So that's how I got into it, like really got into starting playing tournaments and stuff like that. And then I started hosting a tournament for Best Buddies, to raise money for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So I would have this poker tournament in my friend's he had a garage where he sold like mopeds and stuff like that. So we would move out all the bikes and we would put poker tables, and it was a really cute little environment. We started with only like I think 5 tables, and then we got too big and we had to move it into the spot next door, which was his family spot, which was the Harley Davidson shop.
Cool.
And so they would move out the motorcycles, and then we would use their floor, and we got up to like 10 tables, and then we graduated eventually to the Audi dealership in Beverly Hills.
Wow.
And so it was progressively it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I mean, that's how I really started getting into poker and doing all that stuff. But I was never that good. I was I liked playing, and I would only enter like the Women's World Series or something if I was sponsored. I was never gonna like waste my own money.
Yeah. But you won one, right? Was it like a charity event?
Yeah, just a charity event. Yeah, nothing
Yeah.
big.
How often do you play these days?
Not very often at all. I don't have time. And also, like right now, the World Series is going on. I have a lot of friends who are poker pros. Like I have one of my best friends right now. She's like in Vegas, and she plays and she raises, she's raising 2 kids as a single mom, and she's a professional poker player. And I'm just like, wow, that just takes some balls, right?
Yeah.
To be able to do that. And
It's a risk.
It's a risk, and to be able to like raise kids on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Good for her.
Super cool. Yeah, I know. Anybody who can make a living gambling,
Yeah.
props to you.
And I watch them play, and the kind of money that they throw down. I have like a friend right now who's doing really, really well in all the tournaments. Each buy-in is like $10,000.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, like to me, the thought of just like even entering one competition where it's $10,000 and he's doing multiple, like sometimes more, like sometimes like a couple in a day. Like if he gets knocked out of one tournament early enough, he'll jump into another one, $10,000 that same day, but he's winning enough. He won actually one of these big ones, and he's always making like final tables, and but like I watch and I squeeze for these guys,
That's the thrill of it, though.
Yeah.
That's what we love.
But they don't care. They don't care. They're so like, it's just numbers to them. It's just numbers.
That's awesome. All right. Well, getting into your acting career before we take a shishi break.
Yeah, I need one.
The shock tea goes right to you. So what was your first big break as an actress?
I guess the very, very first one, I've had several actually that were like career, forming. The first one was getting growing pains, which got me off island and into the mainland. And then after that, I guess I didn't do very many, I wasn't on a regular gig. I was just doing like little guest spots here and there. Or small little roles in films and stuff until I got my first regular role on Growing Pains. I'm sorry, on Sunset Beach, which was the soap opera. And that only lasted for 6 months before I got fired.
You got fired for what?
It was, I got let go. It was actually the best thing that ever happened. It was the hardest job that I had ever done. Soap operas are so, so difficult because you're doing a 1 hour show a day. And so sometimes you've got like 30 pages of dialogue that you got to memorize in one day. It's a grind. And it's all very, it's written very quickly. So it's not like, a script where they get lots and lots of rewrites. It's like whatever's on the page is what shoots. And so it's a different kind of acting, and then I was able to get on, Nash Bridges and Martial Law, but then Scorpion King, I think, became my next big break.
With The Rock.
After that, with The Rock.
Yeah. And before that, did you have any roles where you were one of the main people?
Well, I was main cast on Martial Law.
Okay.
With Sammo Hung. But I guess you would still consider it supporting because the two main characters were always Sammo and then Arsenio, who came in, second season.
Yeah.
But yeah, Scorpion King was really my first really big break.
Even for
film.
The Rock too. That was kind of
his first big film. He did a small little thing in, I guess,
The Mummy.
One of the Mummy movies, just before Scorpion King, that sort of introduced his character because they had the whole idea of him coming in and doing. But yeah, it was the first time. So it was the first time I think that there were two Polynesians,
so cool.
right, that were, lead roles in a studio film.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't even thinking about that when I watched it growing up.
I don't think anybody was.
Nobody really understood the gravity of it, right?
Right.
Two Polynesians on the big screen.
Yeah.
That happens these days, and you're just like, you're throwing a parade.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But yeah, it was so rare that I don't think anybody even realized what was going on. Like, how amazing that was for us both to be up there on the poster,
Super cool. Do a lot of people think you're not from Hawaii just because you're Asian? They just like automatically categorize you as you're from somewhere else?
I think so many people, especially in the mainland, still think that this is what Hawaiian looks like.
Oh.
You know,
Yeah,
they don't
yeah.
know. They
Yeah,
don't
that's
know
true.
because so many of us are mixed with Asian, right? And then of course, you know, when you have shows like Hawaii 5-0, where the Hawaiian character is a Korean girl,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you know
exactly.
it's a little confusing,
Yeah.
and you know you got to be like, well, this is why, because that's their only exposure to what they think Hawaiian people look like. So yeah, I mean, I think, you know, our industry really has a responsibility to let people know, you know, what the Hawaiian culture really is.
Oh, there's the tsunami warning.
Oh, perfect
Siren,
timing.
July 1st. Yeah. So now you guys know when we're recording. July 1st.
I think that's the sound for the shishi break.
Oh, shishi break. That's it. I like that. All right, we'll take a quick shishi break and we'll be right back. That was good. What if we told you the next 3 times you fill your tank, you could save money? Well, at Texaco in Hawaii, it's true. You can get $1 off per gallon on your next 3 visits when you download the Texaco app and join Texaco Rewards. Earn points on every fuel transaction and qualifying in-store purchases at participating Texaco stations. Download the app and join to get started today. Visit texacohawaii.com for details. All right, we're back from a quick shishi siren break. That was our first. We've never had a siren indicate the shishi break, so I kind of like it though.
Yeah, but now from
Yeah.
now on, every time I hear a siren,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you're
want to
like,
go
"Oh,
shishi.
It's like that study, yeah, with the Pavlov's dog
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
Okay, so let's get into the social media fan questions. We got a lot about asking about the upcoming Deadpool movie because he played a certain character, you know, back in the days on
Yes,
X-Men.
yes.
So all we can say is go watch the movie when it comes out in a couple weeks. I'm super excited to watch it, so I'm gonna watch it. I don't even know. Okay, I'm
I
just
don't
gonna
even
watch
know
it.
either, to tell you the truth.
We're just gonna watch it and see what happens. Okay, so first question comes from she_is_pu'uvai. This person says, was it hard to become an actress?
You know, I think I was always an actress. So I didn't have to become one. I always just was.
Yeah.
And it was just a matter of me finding the venue, right? Just finding the opportunities. And I think what happened was, you know, getting into like the modeling and the commercials was just sort of an opportunity for that door to open, you know, getting an agent and for me to just be ready and willing to jump through. So that's how I feel like my professional career started was, you know, there were these opportunities and I just, you know, wasn't scared, just went right for it. Yeah. I think that was also the advantage of starting so young, you know, like in, you know, fresh out of high school, was that I was too young to even understand how hard it was supposed to be.
Almost like ignorance is bliss, kind of.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So I remember even, you know, getting to Los Angeles and before the show even aired, before Growing Pains even aired, I took out a full page ad in Variety, you know, announcing that I was going to be in this show and, you know, a very special episode of Growing Pains. And I had like my headshot and then I had a little tiny picture in the corner of me in a swimsuit going like this. It was so dumb.
But it was cool back in the day.
Back in the day, I
Or
thought
at
it was
least you
cool. My little 18-year-old head.
Same way how I thought wearing a shirt with flames on top was cool in middle school.
Yes, yes.
It's like, wow, it looks so cool with these flames, these blue flames. Yeah,
Nobody was gonna tell you different.
I understand.
Yeah, because I you know, I saw all these little ads for other actors in Variety where they would take out, you know, like a quarter page or an eighth of a page or whatever, you know, business size card, and I thought nobody's gonna see that.
Yeah.
But if I took out a full page ad, you know, like I had won all this money from Miss Teen, and I just thought this was like an investment in myself.
Right.
Yeah, and so I took out this full page ad, and I was like, "This is me. I'm ready, world." Like,
Did it help?
it did. I
Yeah.
got calls from 20 agents
Wow.
that day before the show even aired. So you know, I think it was it was number one, it was timing.
Yeah.
You know, because there were not a lot of Asian actresses back then. You know, Tia Carrera was already there on the scene just before me. But Tamlin Tomita from Karate Kid, she's you know in the podcast with me now.
Yeah.
Of shoes off inside, and then you know there were just not a lot of Asian girls. So everybody wanted to know who's this, you know, ridiculous girl. You know, taking out this full page ad. She's already got one credit, so she must know how to act somewhat. And yeah, so I got like 20 calls before the show even aired. And so I learned, I think, from that how difficult it was meant to be, because I went to my my manager of my building. I knew that he was an actor. He was like, you know, he had just had a baby. He managed the building as like, you know, his side gig, right? His side hustle, but he was really an actor trying to make it in Hollywood. And I showed him the list of all these people who called, and I was like, help me narrow this down. And he was like, you realize I can't even get these people to call me back, and I've been doing this for 15 years here. And I was
That's
like,
awesome.
oh. That's when I was like, wow, I guess I'm that lucky. But then, of course, in my little mind, I kept thinking, oh, it's because, you know, I'm Asian and I'm special and, you
They
know.
want that token Asian.
Yeah. And I don't think I was wrong. You know, I think there was something to that.
Yes.
But, you know, I just, I always felt like coming from Hawaii, being Asian, made me more special than anything. Yeah.
I do believe that there is that feeling of you are more unique than other people, especially when you, like when I travel abroad or I live abroad, and you know, as soon as even if you're with other Americans, and sometimes people outside of America don't view Americans in the best light, but when you drop the I'm from Hawaii, they just separate you from like, they don't even know it's America. They're like, oh wow, you're so cool. You know, especially with the election and everything. And they're like, yeah, we don't really like America, but they'll just be like, oh yeah, well, I'm from Hawaii.
I do the same thing. I do the same thing.
And then they like, you're like, nobody hates people from Hawaii.
No.
Nobody does.
No,
you know who hates people from Hawaii? People from Hawaii. We are always just our biggest haters, right?
We are biggest supporters too, I have to say.
Huge supporters, but usually the critics are our own people.
Our own people. That's true. I felt more that way when I was younger. You know, maybe your age. But now that I'm older, I realize, you know, being from Hawaii, you get so much support. You get like this built-in support base, you know, these fans who are there to help you and watch anything you do, and just I feel like every actor or every person, I guess, should have this, should at least be able to experience having this kind of support behind them, you know. And I think that one of the reasons why I was so successful in my career was because I always felt like I had this community, you know, like cheering for me, you know, wishing me well and wanting me to represent. And so I just like it. I think that was really a plus for me in my career. Yeah.
I feel like you and Tia, probably the two biggest actors from Hawaii who are born and raised. Like, actually, I can't really think of anyone.
Because Jason Momoa
Jason, Nicole, Dwayne. I think they have ties to Hawaii, but
didn't they all like graduated right from here?
No, I don't think so. Nicole, I think, grew up in Kentucky. Jason, I think, Iowa.
Oh wow!
Did Dwayne go to school here? Or?
That's why they cannot speak pidgin.
Exactly. It feels awkward, right? No, but I wonder if you get the same kind of pushback, because I know they get a lot of pushback from people here because they're not like from here. You know, even though they're Hawaiian, Polynesian.
But that's not their fault.
Exactly. Yeah, but I think people like to hate on like the Hollywood Hawaiians, because even in a smaller scale, there are people, even this podcast, you know, there's some like a group of, you know, certain people that they hate on some of the successful Hawaiians because of X,
You're always going to find that though. You
yeah,
know?
but I feel like they're
just more outspoken.
They're trying to like represent, and I get it because they didn't grow up here. They're trying to reconnect. So I think when people come here, they're just like, oh, they're only using Hawaii as, you know, to get more whatever.
To get what, more likes?
Yeah,
I mean, they're like, already pretty well liked.
Yeah, so I know in my mind I'm just like, please, like shine more light on Hawaii.
Yeah,
like, represent our culture, do what you can. But
exactly.
Yeah,
the more representation that we have out there, that's positive.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Like, do they hate on Bruno Mars? He was born and raised here, right?
I'm sure people do for any reason. People will find anything to hate on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wonder if it's different because you're born and raised over here, represent Hawaii, and they just came here, you know.
I guess so. I mean, I don't see it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of new to me.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
You're
it
saying
happened.
all of this.
No, it happened. I see it amongst people.
Yeah.
Especially on social media.
That's kind of sad because we're such a small group of people to begin with, right? There's so few of us, and so few of us out there, you know, like who have had success, who have managed to find success in the industry. Like, why hate on the people that, you know, just because they're not born and raised? I mean, it seems unfair. And I feel like, you know, the more people that you can have in your community that are successful, the better.
Yeah,
right?
More the merrier. Same way, you know, if you're not Hawaiian and you want to learn Hawaiian, awesome.
Yeah.
More the merrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what is so cool? I found that they have Hawaiian on Duolingo.
Yeah, yeah. My girlfriend does that. Yeah.
I was like, oh, and I've actually started it, and I was like, oh, I've been doing this wrong. Like,
it's pretty solid. It's gotten better over the years. When it first came out, it was kind of
iffy,
but now it's pretty solid.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's just a good base, good foundation for anybody trying to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So
we're out there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm all peace and love. I just want everybody to be peace and love and support everybody. Support everybody like how we support the athletes.
Yeah.
The athlete support we have is just like, man, that's my cousin.
Right?
You know, you support them like you don't even know them, but they're like your family. But yeah.
No, but I think that I've always felt really supported, and maybe, you know, like you're saying, it's because I'm from here, born and raised. You know, I speak the pidgin as my first language, but I just feel like, you know, it's such an honor to be Hawaiian, you know, to have Hawaiian blood. That, you know, our brothers and sisters have moved away because of necessity. You know, they had to, you know, go out there because they couldn't afford to live in Hawaii anymore. And if they are, you know, trying to, you know, have Hawaiian, you know, ties again, you know, why not embrace them and, you know, welcome them back into Hawaii, you know, especially if it wasn't their responsibility. I mean, they're not the ones they didn't choose to be born on the mainland or wherever. But yeah, if they're out there wanting to represent and you know, and they're positive role models, then absolutely.
Yeah, totally. I think Nicole is here.
Right now?
Yeah, I think
cool.
she's here. I'm not sure. But yeah, hopefully she'll be on soon and we can talk and hear her perspective, because I know she's getting a lot of pushback because she wants to buy a house here. So that's one of the things that I'm talking about is like, but there's a lot of people here pushing back because, you know, she's like not from here, but even though she's Hawaiian, her family's on the west side. They're like rooted.
And I think she used to spend every summer here.
She comes here all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just ridiculous to hear all this. Like,
wait, why are people not wanting her to buy a house? Everybody buys houses out here. We get all kind of foreigners. We get people who are not even American buying houses out here.
That's why we're like, oh, we don't understand. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a shame.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like we need to be better at like.
Yeah.
We need to be better, and it's probably a small minority that's very loud, but I just, I want to create an environment where it's just like so supportive of Hawaiians, whether they're from here and from the diaspora or, born and raised here.
I think maybe it's not even so much that she's from Hawaii, but that she's from Hollywood.
I know, that's what it is. It's when you go find success somewhere else and then it's almost like sellout,
Yeah,
like
I don't think it's even about the success. I think that there's such a I don't know, a hatred towards the industry and the business and people in Hollywood right now, especially from the conservatives, right? They all hate the Hollywood liberal elite, they call us. And I'm like, when my brother called me that for the first time, I was like, elite? Like, who do you think I am? Hollywood liberal elite? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
And so, like, I think that's what they're pushing against is that whole Hollywood liberal elite thing, rather than the fact that she's just from the mainland.
Yeah, I think
because if it was any other Hawaiian from the mainland that had, found success in some other, business, they would not give a crap.
Yeah, I think.
Right?
I think it has to do with the financial.
Well, the financial and the liberalism.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like kind of like the 1%er and the 99%ers.
Right.
You're kind of just like hating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me not want to buy a house here now. I'm scared.
No, yeah, but I think you'll be fine. I don't know now. We'll see.
Boy.
But again, these are just things that I hear, things that I see, and like, because I have so many conversations with like all kind of different people, and I see it all because I'm trying to keep up with everybody. So
yeah. I've been lucky. I've been so lucky that even on social media, maybe because I don't really post that much and I'm not trying to be political, that I have really kind followers.
Yeah.
I don't get a lot of people who are, trolls and stuff like that. And if I do, I just block them.
Yeah, I love blocking people. Yeah, I get defensive over my guests because I have such a wide variety of people born and raised here, people Hawaiian, not Hawaiian, moved here, whatever. So
yeah.
I see all the comments from all the different sides.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm just like, that paternal instinct is just like, don't talk about my guests like that.
Oh, good thing you never have kids. You're going to be beating everybody up.
Maybe. I know I'm such a kind, calm person, but we'll see what happens if that happens. I might get kind of nuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just spread the aloha.
Exactly. Keep it aloha.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next question. This question comes from Agloba Traveler. This person says, are you still open to marriage?
I've never really wanted to be married because I always felt like marriage was a trap, and maybe that's because my parents had such a ugly divorce that I don't see marriage as, like a comfortable situation. And so, if I do get married at some point in my life, it will be a miracle. And I'm not going to say that it's not possible, but it will be a miracle.
Okay. We'll keep it at that. Okay. Same person asked, what is your favorite movie / show you have done?
That I have done?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's
gosh.
a tough one, huh?
It's a really tough one because there's so many that I have loved for so many different reasons.
It's like saying pick your favorite child.
That's what I say too. I do say that. Yeah. Finding Ohana was great because I got to come back home and, and work. And there's something to be said about coming home and working with a Hawaiian crew that just makes you feel supported. That everybody who's there just wants you to do well and represent well. So that was really special. I did a movie, my first movie coming out of COVID, that ended up being bought by Lifetime, which was called List of a Lifetime, about breast cancer. And that movie was really special to me. Because it was, I got to be the lead of this film, and it was a very, very small film on a small budget, and it was COVID, and so it was like a very few crew members, and and it was just a super super tight, everybody was like such a ohana, and we only had like 12 days of actual shooting.
Wow.
But in those 12 days I just felt so supported, and just there was so much aloha going on that set. I loved it. So and there's so many of these stories that I could tell you from every single project. It's so hard to pick just one.
Do you think because you're from here, you bring a little bit of that aloha to the set?
I try to.
Yeah.
I make it my mission now. Yeah. It's like I should make a T-shirt about that. Yeah. I do have I have T-shirts, but I should just make one that says aloha.
Yeah.
Or bring the aloha.
Yeah.
But it's just I feel like the world, there's just so much negativity now, especially with social media, right? That everybody feels that they can just say any kind of stuff, and be anonymous. That I feel like I really need to be one of these people who is out there, finding unity and spreading kindness and, just recognizing people's humanity. I understand that there's a lot of people who have a lot of fight and pushback and stuff like that. But I think because I operate from such a positive place now, like, that I don't have as much of that pushback as most people do. And if I do, I just think, oh, that's, that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I feel like in my travels and in places that I went that was with people not from here, I feel like I was able to bring some of that aloha and that inclusivity that we have here and inspire others. Because I feel like in a lot of the group settings that I've been in, it's been different. Hearing other people's experience compared to mine and this group, I do feel like we have something special. There's something warm that really like brings people together.
Absolutely.
Like maybe it's just the way we speak, our energy, how kind we are to people, that it inspires others and makes them want to be kind and compassionate and friendly.
Yeah. I think we're just raised with respect.
Maybe it's just respect. Maybe we have more respect than some people.
Right?
Yeah. Not saying we're better than people, but that is a very core value of the culture here.
Yes.
Asian, Hawaiian, whatever, mix it all together. Like,
I mean, because we come from such a small community, right? Like, your mom went to school with my brother, that it's like everybody knows everybody somehow.
Yeah.
And so you got to be kind and respect one another because everybody, is related or friends with somebody, or, this like, so maybe that's sort of built in for us.
I think so.
Yeah. And also it's just, I think, part of the culture, that we just, have the aloha for one another.
You don't want to, screw somebody over because
that's going to be your cousin's,
exactly
partner somehow.
Or,
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely, that plays a big part in all of it. Yeah. I agree.
I wonder if small town America is like that though.
I think that small town closeness, as everybody knows everybody. Or if you don't know somebody, you know some like their cousin or auntie, uncle, whatever. Because that's how Hilo is.
Yeah. Right.
So I feel like small towns or more ethnic communities are a lot more similar to us than mainland Americans. Yeah. Okay. Next question comes from Kailoni21. This person says, if you weren't an actress, what profession do you think you would be doing? Roller skating.
Professional roller derby. That would be a short lived
you didn't audition for that one roller derby movie?
I didn't.
Was it like Drew Barrymore or something?
I did not, weirdly enough. I don't know why. I didn't get the call.
Missed out.
I know. But I love people. And I really, really love connecting with people on like a heart level, I deal with a lot of crowds and things like that, but my favorite is like this, one-on-one, just talking story and I like going deep real fast. So like when I have an Uber, like to the airport or whatever.
Tell me your life story.
I'm like one of those. I get like 20 questions.
Yeah.
I'm so curious about people. You know, I guess I could be like maybe like a journalist like Lisa Ling or something. But that's kind of similar, to what I do already. But maybe a counselor of some sort. Somebody who just really gets in there, and I feel like now too, I'm so much older that I have so much more knowledge about like just the way people think and relationships and stuff that I could really share that. Yeah. So I think if I wasn't acting, or maybe when I retire, maybe that'll be my next job. Who knows?
Counseling in Vegas.
Yeah. In Vegas.
Yeah.
All the gamblers.
I was about to say, counsel all the gambling
Mom,
addicts.
let me start with you. Okay.
Do interventions.
Yeah.
Okay, next question comes from MBY_1027. This person says, what is Kelly's workout routine?
Oh, you would think that I would have like a regular workout routine because of what I do, but I'm so lazy. I really am. And the way I look at it now is my grandparents, all, the one that didn't pass from cancer, the three of my grandparents lived to like 97, 98 years old. Wow. So, and they never, exercised or lifted weights or anything in their entire lives. I'm not about like the hard workout anymore. Like I just want to eat well. I want to move as much as I can. I don't like to, I'm never sitting down. I almost never sit down and watch television. That's such a rarity for me. I am watching Game of Thrones in bed before I go to sleep now because I'm going to Dubrovnik like in a week, and I'm like, oh, I want to see all the locations, right?
Yeah, that's fun.
But like I rarely ever sit down and I'm on my computer or at like. I always have something to do. Like right now, I just moved to Vegas in October, and I feel like there's always a million and one things for me to be doing to fix or clean or just maintenance. So I think as long as I'm moving around and just not being stagnant, I think I'm doing okay, and eating really, really healthy. I'm very much into like organic and mostly vegetarian, trying to be more vegan and stuff like that. So I think that to me is more important than the actual working out.
Definitely dieting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or I guess not dieting, but your diet.
Yeah. Just the lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Stay active.
Yes.
Don't stay stagnant. Okay. Jessarel Marquez says, Kelly, have you ever wanted to visit Brazil? Kisses from a citizen of that country.
Oh, wow. Yes, Brazil has been on my list forever. Like I said, I'm going to Dubrovnik next in a week or so. And I am so excited. That will be my 59th country.
Wow.
Visiting.
59.
So yeah, Brazil would be 60 maybe.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, to me, like travel, when, like I said, I had these friends, this international jet set crowd, and it just made me so hungry to like discover the world. After moving out of Hawaii and meeting all of these people from countries that I had never even heard of, that it just made me realize how small, I don't want to say how small Hawaii is, because that's not, I don't want to diminish Hawaii in any way, but it's like there was such a bigger world to see outside of Hawaii, and I just like, I just have this like wanderlust. I want to see it all. Yeah, even the scary places.
Yeah, a lot of times the scary places aren't as scary as we think. It's just
No.
like the stigmas of it. I'm same with like Africa. We think of
I
Africa,
love
and you know
Africa.
it's like, ooh, scary, but no, there's so
Yeah.
many beautiful places.
So
Yeah.
many, yeah. And there are a lot of scary places in the world that are
Totally,
like,
totally.
you know, unsafe for maybe Americans, you
Yeah.
know, and probably for good reason.
Yeah, or
But-
for females
or
as well.
for females, exactly. But you know, anytime that there's an opportunity for me to travel, I've taken a lot of jobs. I think even, you know, just because I would get to travel to a foreign country, jobs that I probably should not have said yes to, but I was like, what? It shoots in Russia. I'm there. Like Kazakhstan. Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, take all those opportunities. Coming from
Right?
Hawaii, we don't realize how tiny we are in comparison to the world. As in, like,
Physically, our islands are so
our island
small.
are like physically very small. It's
Yeah.
a speck on top of the map.
Yeah.
And there's just so much to see. And we think we're special. We think we're unique. We are. But there's so many other special and unique places out there that we can
Yes.
learn about and maybe find all the other similarities that we have.
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
feel like the more people travel, the more, I mean, the more that they will open up to you know, other people, other cultures,
Totally.
and open up to one another, you know, all the differences, and really like appreciate, you know.
Yeah.
And it's always great to come home.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, like
That's the
America
foundation, you
is
know.
still
Yeah.
to me the best place in the world.
See, and you won't say that if you've never left.
Yeah, well,
all the people that left, they'll be like, America's not that bad.
you know, I mean, in it's got its ups and downs,
Totally.
right? I mean, there's great things and there's not so great things. But when it comes to standard of living, for me anyway, I mean, there are a lot of countries with great standard of living if you have money, right? And I guess America might be the same way too. If you have money,
Yeah.
there are good things and bad things about everywhere. But you know, I just feel like there's more room for opportunity and growth here than there are in most places in
Land
the
of
world.
opportunity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, this is a funny question. Comes from CT underscore Zulaikaha. I don't know what
Everybody
kind
got
of
all these
language is that.
cryptic, like,
Yeah.
you know,
These are-
handles.
I think this is your fan from Kazakhstan, maybe.
Oh,
don't know.
okay.
From Russia. How did you handle your sweating wearing leather pants during fighting in martial law?
Oh, yeah. That was hard. But you know, I mean, a lot of times you don't actually, what looks like leather or stuff like that isn't actually leather.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Or
Movie tricks.
For instance, in X2,
Okay.
they did have leather pants for me, but when I was doing my fitting, the what do you call, I told the costume designer, I said, I have a friend named Jonathan Logan who is doing these like leather pants that have stretch in them now. And she's like, what? And I hooked them up, and Jonathan made tons of pants for me because you know, I had to do all of this fighting in these pants, in this costume, but then when they sew it, like it would like tear at the seam, because you know it's not made for like doing the splits and like fighting and stuff like that. So there were, you know, we did the best, but you know, it was there's a lot of like little tricks that you can do that make things, you know, more easy. Or
Yeah.
sometimes what they'll do is they'll have leather on the outside, but like on the inside seams they'll have like a spandex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, you know, even like Scorpion King, it looks like I'm like naked under just like these rags that are tied with ropes. But no, there's like this whole like bodysuit that's like nothing's going to go anywhere, very secure. So like you don't get any ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, all the things we don't know.
Yeah. A lot of tricks when it
Yeah.
comes to costuming.
Super cool. Okay. Next question comes from High Five Ghost Rules 23. This person says, how did you like working for the Mortal Kombat game?
Oh, I have played like 6 different characters on Mortal Kombat. And it's such a shame that I'm not a game player. Like I don't play video games. I'm not like aware of the whole universe or any of that. I didn't even know that I played 6 characters until somebody recently told me. Like I'm just like, I just go in, I do the job. I'm like, okay, what do you want? What is this character? What do how, do you want her to sound? And then I go in, I do the job, and I forget that it's ever happened. And I move on to the next one. And so, like, sometimes people will hand me, like, a DVD to sign, and I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm in that. And they're like, no, you are. And they'll have to look it up on IMDb and show me. And, I'm like, oh, okay, So I'm just like, I'm so unaware of the, how huge these things are to people, these video games or movies and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I mean, I can say it's fun to work on these things, but I'm really, I don't understand the magnitude of it.
That's funny.
I'm
yeah,
so
that's
unaware.
like the first thing I said to you when you came in. I was like, I didn't realize how many things you were in. 'Cause I was looking at your IMDb.
Yeah.
And like a lot of voice acting as well.
Yeah.
So
And that's the
many
thing
things.
about voice acting too, is like you go in, you do the job, and it's a lot of times, characters that I don't know or
gotta learn about 'em,
like,
yeah.
comic, and sometimes they do it under a pseudonym because there's like too many fans who are like trying to, find out stuff. So you don't even get the real name of the project that you're doing. And because I don't know the characters and stuff like that, I'll go in, I'll do the voice. I don't know who this person is from Adam. And then, the movie or video game comes out like, year and a half, 2 years later. But I don't remember doing that, thing in the sound booth, playing that character that one time for a couple of hours. It's just like, for me, it's just a job, just another job. And then all these fans come out and I'm like, oh, wow, that was popular.
That's so funny.
I'm like,
The
wow,
fact
that's
that
so
you
cool.
don't even know.
You're sitting in a hall with like 2,000 people staring at you
Yeah,
at,
everyone's
at
freaking
Comic Con.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people are freaking out. You're like, wow, I guess this is huge.
Yeah. That's so funny. That makes it cool in a way too. Like you're it's like you're not even playing it cool, but you're even more cool because you don't know how cool it is. If that makes sense.
It's the ignorance.
Yeah. That's so funny. Well, great questions, everybody. Mahalo, everybody, for the social media fan questions. Make sure you leave some for our next guest, and maybe your question will make it on the podcast. Okay, I got a couple more questions for you, but
What?
at this point, I'd like to ask people the same question about keeping it aloha. This is the name of the podcast, Keep It Aloha. And I'd like to know, in your life, how do you keep it aloha?
I think what really helps me is having really good people around me. I think I've been so blessed with really good friends that are, two of my best friends that I grew up with, one that I've known since, kindergarten, another that I known since 7th grade. They're still my best friends. And so I think that helps me to keep my feet on the ground. And, no matter how much success that I've had in my life, they always remind me of where I come from and what's real, and I think that's what helps me to keep that aloha spirit. Yeah.
Awesome. And I know that you give back a lot, and
I try.
You're really into helping the community, which I love. I love when people have a platform and they use it, to give back. Recently, you did some, I don't know, volunteering with, I don't know if that's what you call it, with ICANN.
Oh,
with
yeah.
Angie and Brian.
Yes.
Yeah, I just met them a couple weeks ago because Angie wanted to meet me, so I went with Lincoln. You know Lincoln, yeah?
Yeah.
Jacoby.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I loved this. Having this opportunity to do this workshop. They actually asked me to come in and teach a class, acting class. And because I never went to school for acting, I mean, I've taken classes here and there, but I never did like, the 5-year theater program. I never feel qualified. People ask me all the time to teach, but I don't ever feel like I'm qualified to be a teacher. It's like being a kumu, right? Just because you dance hula doesn't mean that you can be a kumu.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally. Well, it's the same when people, like, for example, if you grew up speaking Spanish and they're like, oh, can you, how do you, what is this, like, grammar formation? What is this sentence structure?
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know. You just say it like this.
Right.
Like, you just know because that's how you've always done it. But you don't know the past progressive, subjunctive, like, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't even know what that is.
Exactly. See, you just know, like, this is how you do it because this is how you do it.
Yeah. This is how it sounds right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly.
But yeah, so I agreed to only do it if their other teachers, the regular teachers, were in the class, and then I could just kind of add my 2 cents.
Yeah. Awesome.
But it was so awesome to see this program for, Native Hawaiians, Pacific Islanders, to have a place where they can train, because I never had that. All I had was high school drama, Mr. Bertino. But this place where they could train and get the experience and have other working actors come in and share their knowledge, and these students were all so hungry for this knowledge, and they were so great at like taking direction and really trying to understand the craft of acting, and I'm so proud to see that in our community of people really taking it seriously and not just wanting to be a celebrity, because that's a whole other thing. But wanting to understand the craft of acting and get out there and be the next generation of representatives.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How much do you think it has changed in the acting scene, in the Hawaii acting scene, with roles being offered to people over here? Because a lot of times it's people who aren't Hawaiian or Pacific, or necessarily Hawaiian. Let's just use that for example, playing Hawaiian roles. It's like maybe a Pacific Islander, or like even the guy.
I know people get upset about that.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. But a lot of times what I hear is that people aren't auditioning for these roles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's not the people that are coming in who are trained enough to be able to carry a role like that. Because here's the thing. I mean, if I see somebody who is really Hawaiian, who is, playing a Hawaiian, playing this role, I really want them to do well. I want them to be good and represent and come back and do more. But how are you going to do that when you don't have training, right? And so this organization, ICANN, is helping that, right? Is training these natives that are willing to put themselves out there. And also, we got to be supportive. We, like you were saying, how people are so critical, right? Like the crabs in the bucket kind of idea, right? You got to be supportive of these people who are putting their necks out there and making these, taking these chances, these risks, and opening themselves up to all kinds of criticism. Nobody comes out perfect their first time. It takes years and years of development and experience to really start doing well as an actor. And so, these first opportunities are really important, but you got to prepare even for that first opportunity. So now there are these places where people can train and become better just to audition. But I encourage people to get out there, and if you are Native Hawaiian and you have even a little bit of an inkling to act, join ICANN or audition for ICANN or other take other classes that are being offered here in Hawaii, and really try and train, because it's not as easy as you think. Our job is to make it look natural, right? Make it look easy. And it takes years and years of experience to get to that level.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's these other native, other Polynesians might be getting cast now because there's just not a lot of, native Hawaiians out there who are able to even audition. There's a very small pool to choose from. So the more that we encourage Native Hawaiians to do this work, the more that we'll be able to see Native Hawaiians being represented in Native Hawaiian roles.
Definitely. Yes. We need more of us to go out and audition for these roles, because we're always complaining, how come they didn't cast a Hawaiian guy? Because we don't have that many people auditioning or qualified for those roles. So it's on us as well to, go out and be the representation that we want to see in the world.
Yes.
I wonder why I haven't seen too many. Maybe there are, and I just don't follow these people. But there hasn't been any like huge stars like from Hawaii in the recent years, I feel like, besides the people that are already big.
I don't know why that is. I think maybe there has been in like social media. Yeah,
or I guess maybe everybody's in the
stars.
social media space, not really like the acting Hollywood space.
But acting, I mean, it's tough. It's not an easy career choice when you think about it. I only found out when we were on strike recently that out of the 160,000 members in the Screen Actors Guild, only 4% make a living wage.
Oh.
So I cannot blame people for not choosing to be an actor. It really has to be a calling. And like for me, I never felt like I wanted to do anything else. That was always my thing. My mom always tried to make me say that I would be like a lawyer or a teacher or something like that, something a little bit more stable, right? But I always wanted to be an actor. I think on the Miss Teen pageant, I said that I wanted to be an elementary school teacher because my mom said that I should say that.
Yeah. You just make your mom proud.
Yeah. But really, I wanted to be an actor. But, not a lot of people respect that. When you're in pageants, they're like, oh, just another person wanting to be famous. But being an actor and being famous are two different things altogether. You can get famous for being a social media, influencer.
Yeah, or just going viral for something.
Or, just going viral for something. But being an actor is somebody who understands the craft and the art of acting, and puts their time and energy into studying that. Yeah,
that's a good point. I think it's with anything. I mean, maybe you get famous because you're really good at what you're doing, and then you get a lot of people watching you.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it is. But it's because you're really good at your craft.
Yeah.
So if you're really good at, cooking, you get so many eyeballs on you, everybody talking about your cooking, and then you become famous. So I think,
but not everybody wants to be famous either. Some people just want to be good at cooking.
Yeah, and a lot of people are really good, happen to get a lot of eyeballs, and they're just like, I just want to cook, I don't want to be famous, but it comes with the territory, right?
Well, nowadays.
Yeah, with social media.
With social media. It didn't exist like that, 20 years ago. Like you could be a great cook and not get all that publicity. Like all these famous chefs, they're famous because they have publicists and agents, and they want to be famous.
Yeah.
You don't get famous just for doing whatever you do really well. You might get famous in your community, but it's an effort. It's effortful to become famous for doing whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not an actor, because you're, actors, maybe you get famous because you're on television and, you get seen by so many people just automatically. But if you are a chef or, I don't know, you make cars or whatever, you become famous because you're really putting in that effort to be famous.
Yeah. Awesome. What is some advice that you want to give to like upcoming actors, actresses that want to get into, the space?
I hope, like you were saying, there's not a lot of people from Hawaii that have come up recently, that we know of, but I do hope that, this next generation of young actors are, are training. Actually, finding Ohana, there were some young actors that,
Lindsay Watson, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Lindsay, who's really, really doing great things right
Yeah.
now, and she is Hawaiian.
Yeah. Auli'i Carvalho as well. Moana.
Exactly, Auli'i.
Yeah.
So we have some native Hawaiians and other Pacific Islanders who are coming up, but also you don't get. I think it's harder these days because of the. I'm sorry, I'm going back to the old question. Yeah, it's harder these days because there's so many different outlets. There's so many different places to put your eyeballs that it's hard to really focus. It's hard to become famous these days by just being on a TV show, because there's so many hundreds and hundreds of shows out there.
Yeah. So many streaming services now.
Exactly. And so maybe that's why you feel like there's nobody out there, but there is.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I just can't keep up with the thousands of TV shows that come out every year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a very good
And the
point.
many actors who
Yeah.
are doing great work, who might have Hawaii ties. And so, my advice to young actors is, number one, don't be afraid of failure. Everybody falls on their okole when they first come out, and even later in your career, it's not about perfection. It's about just getting out there and being able to do your craft. And I think number two is fall in love with the craft of acting, because the craft and the business are two different things. If you are trying to act to become famous, then you are always going to be disappointed. And you're going to be disappointed in the business because there's so much out there that is not in your control, and no matter what level you're at, it's, to me, I tell young actors, when you get an audition, like the process and getting to perform for that audience of one, the casting director, should be like the goal, like the what makes you happy, because, and whether or not you get the job, that's just like cream on the on the top. I feel like just getting to do acting is such a gift unto itself. And then surviving the business is a whole other animal. So if you just fall in love with the acting, then you're never going to be disappointed. But if you just freak out and give up every time you don't get cast, then you should not be a working actor. You should just I don't know, maybe, I don't know, cast, do videos for, social media or something. Because you just can't rely, even if you're great. Oh my God, I've been to acting classes where there were actors that were so good and they can't even find an agent. And I just don't get it. And then you see people on TV and you're like, oh, that was hard to watch.
Yeah.
And everybody has those moments, but it's just a matter of luck and timing and being prepared and just, doing your best.
Well, luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Right.
So stay ready.
Yeah.
Well, mahalo for sharing that advice. One thing I'm always curious about is how the heck do actors remember all the lines?
It's hard for me.
I watch shows sometimes. I'm just like, man, that's like
impressive.
Yeah,
I feel the same way.
I can't even remember like some because I have to record stuff and film stuff for different things, and like it's hard for me to just remember like a sentence or two.
Yeah. I get it. And I think that's why I got fired from that soap opera, because there was so much dialogue.
Yeah, 30 pages.
And sometimes it's like poorly written, right? And it's when it's poorly written, that's when it's even more difficult to memorize. But when it's really well written, it just kind of flows because the ideas come and they all make sense.
You can
and
improvise a little bit.
Yeah. So I actually, for me, it's a very long process to memorize. And the older I get, the harder it is, you know? So I've had to do all these tricks. Like I go on very long walks with, you know, the ear pods and the recordings and the paper in my hand. And, you know, I write things out if I have to, you know, for it to make sense. And sometimes it helps me find things that I wouldn't have seen if I didn't write it out. And so, you know, the thing is, you're not memorizing just words. You're memorizing like the idea and the motivation behind the words that really helps. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, and then on top of that, body language, facial expressions, everything, right?
Yeah. There's a lot to acting. You know, so all those people who are those couch, you know, sitting on their
critics,
sofa, being critical, you know, try it one day.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same people that watch sports and be like, I could have made that pass.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I could have cried better than that person.
Yeah. Yeah. Try making that pass with like 300-pound guys running after you at full blast.
Exactly.
Let's see how good you are.
We just don't understand. It's easier to hate.
It's so much easier to be critical when you're just sitting on your couch, right? Trying to act like, you know, you do everything so perfectly. But but we're all just trying to get by. We're all just trying to figure it out as we go. Even the ones who are getting paid to do it.
Totally. It's better when you are getting paid though.
It helps.
Yeah. So out of all the things that you've done so far, you've had such a great career, and we're also proud of you as somebody representing Hawaii, and you have such great energy, and you know, mahalo for sharing your time with us. I want to know, what are you most proud about for yourself?
What am I most proud about? I think, like we were talking about earlier, is the, you know, even though I have had this great career and I've done really well for myself, being able to maintain the friendships and just having, you know, this great support system, you know, I guess, and I think a lot of it has to do with just being from Hawaii, you know, and just being able to utilize that and know how special that is, and, you know, keeping it real. I think that's what I'm most proud of. Yeah.
Well, I can tell that plays a big part in who you are, because you do seem very grounded and down to earth.
I wasn't always.
Oh,
I wasn't always.
There was a phase.
There was a phase when I first moved away. You know,
I think that happens though. To people.
Yeah.
I think you gotta go through that.
Yeah. And I mean, and the great thing about having really, really good friends is my two best friends that I was talking about earlier. They sat me down one day. And they called a meeting. It was like intervention. They did that intervention, and they're like, let's talk. and they're like, remember when you were in high school and you said, if I ever got too big for my britches, just kick me in the ass? Well, we're kicking you in the ass. And I was like, what? I was so appalled. But then they were coming from such a place of aloha. And I knew that they were such good friends of mine. And they weren't just trying to, like, you know, I don't know, how do you say, like, intimidate me or throw their weight around or whatever, because they were my friends. They really cared, and they came from a place of support that, you know, I understood, and it made me open my eyes and realize that I was being an asshole. And I apologized, to the people that they told me that I had insulted, and, you know, It was like, a really big eye-opening moment for me. But without friends like that to keep it real, and that happens, when you become really famous, you have all these yes people around you, and everybody just wants to either keep their commission going or just wants to stay in your circle because they think that they can have a little bit of this fame on them. But it's the people that really help keep you grounded. They're there to support you as well, not just criticize, but the ones who are really there to help keep you grounded that you should keep closest and never forget.
Yeah, that's great advice. What would you say that point of time in your career was? Was it like the whole Scorpion King, X-Men? Like
No, it was before that.
Oh,
it was way before that.
Okay.
And some of that happened during that too. I have to say, during the most successful times in my career, I felt the most depressed. It was the most challenging.
That seems like a common theme, right? You hear that a lot.
Yes. I think it happens because there's so many smoke and mirrors. Your publicist creates all this stuff going on, and you have all of these people who are on your team who are just, yes, or you're so great, and they never want to tell you the truth. And yet you feel like everybody's talking and conniving behind your back and trying to manipulate you into doing whatever they want you to do without just confronting you and being honest.
Yeah.
And I always felt really uncomfortable with that. And that's when I had to rely most on my friends back home to kind of tell me the truth and keep me grounded. There was a point where I had to fly my best friend up and be like my personal assistant because I was losing it. And so, yeah, I mean, lucky for me that I had somebody like that in my life to help keep me grounded, that really understood me as a person and where I was coming from rather than just, the celebrity part.
Yeah. So we talk about success in your career, and now I'm thinking about, what success means to you and how do you define that?
For me, the success in this business is being able to work consistently, being able to just get to do work that I love doing, and being able to say yes and no to things that maybe you don't want to do, and just being comfortable, of course, financially, because that's huge, not having to have that burden.
Totally.
And still just being able to be a real person. I would hate to be like a Tom Cruise, for instance, who cannot just walk around and have a normal life, go buy. I love going to the market and buying my own groceries and going to eat at, the hole in the wall restaurants, and, going shopping at Home Goods, or, like
without camera,
without cameras,
all that.
exactly, like, but yet still have being able to have a career and have, some people maybe recognize me here and there. That's fine. But I love having enough anonymity that I can just be a normal person. And that for me is the best of both worlds. I don't want to have more fame than I have now.
Would you say you're happy in life?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I would be such an asshole if I wasn't happy. I mean, I have so much now, like with the career, with the family and friends, and, I have so much to be grateful for. That if I wasn't happy, there would be something wrong with me.
And how does what does your happiness look like for you?
My happiness is being able to move to, Vegas to be with my family, because my mom did not want to move to Los Angeles. And Los Angeles is not a place for older people. being able to just still have like be surrounded by my ohana and friends, from small kid time, and being able to just have the freedom of traveling and you know going out to dinners and yet still having a platform to be able to share with charities things that I want to help, and just I have the best life. I do. I really do. I'm so grateful.
I love hearing that.
Yeah.
And I love how none of that has to do with like anything material.
No.
It's not like I want a big boat or I want this fancy car. It's
No,
like I
'cause
want my
at the-
friends and family.
Right. And I have a big house. I'm so
Yeah,
grateful
yeah.
for having the big house. But the big house is so that I can have my friends and family with me.
It's a tool.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Because my parents are moving in,
Yeah.
and eventually, and having them and being able to care for them, in the same house, to me is like it's a blessing. It's such a blessing, and just I don't know. I've always said I'm the luckiest girl alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe it. I can see the conviction in your eyes when you say
Yeah.
that.
I
Yeah.
really am.
Yes.
I am.
I love when people are happy. I love when people are passionate. I love when people love their life, because, you don't hear that too much, especially at my age. Everyone's like, my job's all right.
Right.
And,
Everybody's still struggling
Yeah.
at your age,
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
might not have been the happiest person alive at your age, I mean, and there were times, like I said, even at the most successful times in my career, where I struggled as a human being, just, I think, when your world is under a microscope and everybody's watching every little move, especially now with cameras and stuff like that, you slip and fall and it's on social media. Everybody has their moments, nobody is perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just being human.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
think it's accepting everything, life as it is, and still being able to choose happiness over all the bad things in life. Because I would say
Yeah.
at 31, I'm super happy. I'm super grateful. I live a very blessed life with. I mean, like, my job is I get paid to talk to people.
Right?
Like,
I think
come on.
whenever you have choices,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
are
When you have the
blessed.
freedom to like get up at whenever you want, when you can be like, oh, I can take this meeting, or I can meet up with you there,
Yeah.
I can take this trip.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, like, we just want freedom, right?
Yeah.
That's what we want. We want the freedom of choice.
Yeah.
And I feel like I already have that in my life, which I'm so grateful for, and I wish upon everyone else.
Me too.
But yeah, it's not saying that and saying that we're super happy, super stoked on life. I don't think it's us saying like nothing's wrong with our life. Like, there are hardships, there are struggles every day. We know we go through certain things, But I feel like we just, as freedom is a choice, so is happiness in this sense. And I choose to like accept the good and hold on to that more than any of the negative that comes into my life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
at least
mean-
that's how I see it.
Yeah. Because there's always going to be, bad things happening, in your life. And that's just part of living. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The experience of life.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think I've handled things better now that I'm older, because, things just happen all the time, right? You get so many experiences, and everything, even death is like something that you just start learning to handle better, because it happens more often around
Yeah.
you, and loss is always going to be a part of life, always going to be there, whether it be, a relationship, or the loss of life, with a family member or a pet, or all of that, it's just like, I think once you just accept that is part of life, and that, you allow yourself to grieve, and yes, sadness is part of life too, that doesn't make your life terrible.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah, I love that. What is the hardest lesson life has taught you?
Oh, I guess it has to do with the fame. The hardest lesson was that, that having the high points of my career, I just expected everything to be perfect, and it wasn't. It was even harder than when I was struggling. I think that was a really hard one for me to understand, because everybody thinks like, oh, once you got this, you've made it.
Made it, yeah.
You've made it, and you can just sit back and life is beautiful. But it's not. It's not.
More money, more problems, more fame, more problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah. So like finding this delicate balance, right, of work and celebrity, and just being able to kind of, navigate through life without the complications of being too famous. I can still fly coach, and nobody's going to be like, oh, look at her. I still drive my my beat up old Prius 2012. Like I'm proud of it. I love being able to just have that freedom of doing whatever I want.
Nice.
And when you're too famous, you get less and less freedoms.
I believe that. Okay, so what does the next couple of years of your life look like? What's the 5, 10, 20-year plan? How long do you want to keep acting, or is there anything else that you want to
Well, I feel like this business is making me retire faster than I want to. The strike was really, really hard for people, and our business hasn't really come back from it the way it should have. And so I've had very, very few auditions since then. But lucky for me, I've had a great career, and I've planned very well. I'm not a crazy spender, so I don't have to have like designer purses or brand new cars all the time or whatever. So I've been able to save up, and I can, definitely, if I had to retire now, I would. But I don't want to. I want to do this for as long as I cognitively can.
I've never heard that. Usually as long as I can, but I've never heard as long as I cognitively can. That's a good one.
Because like you said, it takes a lot of effort to memorize dialogue and, do all of this. Like Betty White, God bless her.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there are people who can do it all the way until their last days. But it's I don't know. I just moved to Vegas, so I feel like I'm still settling in there. I would love to see when that Sony studio gets built. I would love to try to get some work in Vegas. That would be ideal for me. I would love to be a part of that studio. Who knows, just putting it out there.
We got it.
To
if you're listening, if you're working on Sony Studios right now, you got right there an option.
I mean, I'm just open to whatever, life has to offer me at this moment. You try to make plans, and, God or the universe or whoever it is has other ideas, so I try not to be too committed to my plans. Just enjoy life. And right now, my main focus is my parents, and making sure that they're good and that we're spending quality time, and just living a good life with them for now.
Awesome, beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is one thing you wish people knew about you that they don't?
That I wish they knew? I don't know. I mean, I feel like everybody knows everything already, yeah?
Or what is something that you think people misunderstand about you?
I think people think that I'm so much cooler than I really am.
Trust me, guys.
I play all of these characters.
It's all acting.
It is. It's all acting.
It's literally acting.
I play all of these characters that are
You play some really cool characters.
Yes! That are so cool and so smart and so tough. And, that it's just... I mean, I could never be that cool. If you knew like my real friends, like they would tell you I am quirky and I am a big titta and I am just like loud and obnoxious sometimes, and I'm just as like weird and crazy as like the next person. You know, I love Burning Man. I'm like a total burner now. And I love, you know, like just being, you know, weird and out there and just like I said, I've never, you know, I've never been normal. I've never tried to be a conformist. I just always let myself be as weird as I've always wanted to be, and it's not always worked for me, you know, in school especially, right? That's not a good, you know, look. But yeah, I pride myself in being one of the weird ones.
Awesome. Well, you just needed to find the right environment. School wasn't the right environment, you know?
No, you know, and I think it was because I needed so much attention, right? And I was always like trying to get people to notice me and whatnot. And then, you know, I moved to Los Angeles, where there's an entire city of people wanting to get noticed and being just as crazy and how do you say, like self-absorbed maybe as I was, you know, just wanting to get noticed and, you know, be famous or being on TV or whatever. Yeah, so so I found my people. I found it was a whole city.
Yeah, exactly. You don't blame the seed, you blame the soil. You know, you change the soil and you put it in a different environment and then it blooms.
Yeah.
You know, you weren't planted in the right spot at that time.
Yeah.
And
now like Burning Man is my people.
Blooming. Exactly.
You know, that's like the weirdos that I'm like,
it looks fun. It looks fun. I've heard when I was filming that TV show in Georgia, I was talking to some people who are burners. Yeah. And they were explaining how it works, and it's a lot more organized than I thought it was.
It's not just a bunch of people on drugs
doing
massive
exactly.
orgies. It has nothing. I mean, there is that going on.
Totally.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But you can partake or not partake. I have chosen not to partake. And not always because I've chosen not to partake, actually. I just haven't had it done. I just haven't done it yet.
She's just saying nobody has asked her, but if you asked her at Burma, she would. You just nobody has approached her.
Everybody there is like, Hauna. Because nobody can
Nobody showers. You have to like bring in your own water and everything, right?
Exactly. All about self-sufficiency.
Yes.
It really is like a utopia. If everybody follows the rules, it's really utopic. And, you know, before people make judgments, like go do the research. Like Burning Man is a pretty awesome place.
Yes.
It's for hippies.
I was one of those people that had it's very surface level. Like, that's like the hippie thing. Everybody's just high on drugs. But when I talk to those people, they're telling me about the experience. I'm like, wow, that sounds like
and there are a lot of people who are high on drugs. But like, I would guess that like of all the people who come to our camp and are like, you know, visiting and, you know, getting cookies and tea or whatever it is that we have to offer that year. I would guess like 85% of the people who come to our camp are not high, are just high on life. You know? So there's definitely a lot of that going on, and probably especially with the really rich people, right, that come in and they're just like cutting loose, and they have, you know, they do the turnkey thing where they pay a lot of money and, you know, somebody else comes and drives in their RV and, you know, they can just come in and fly in and, you know, turnkey, and the costumes are there waiting for them or whatever. That's not what I do, and that is not what Burning Man is about. You know, that's just like a whole different thing going on now.
But it's cool because it's all barter system, right?
No, it's not barter.
Okay.
It's gifting.
Oh, gifting.
So you don't, when somebody gives you something, you don't expect anything in return.
Okay.
So like if, you know, you have a flat tire, for instance, which I always arrive with flat tire on my bike, I look for the places where they are fixing bikes, and they're not doing it because you're giving them something. It's just their gift to the playa. Everybody comes with whatever it is that they have, their gifts, their offerings to the playa, to anybody who needs whatever it is. It's probably the way old Hawaii was, right? It's like people don't own things. People like, there's like a boutique even like where you can go and get clothes, but you don't have to pay them. You don't have to give them anything in return. You just take what you need and what you like and maybe what fits you, and maybe you leave something if you want to, if something you're not using or something. Everybody's borrowing from people, or like when we had the big rains last year, there were some people that were cold, and we would like, come, we have tea, we have hot soup, are you hungry?
Plantation style, yeah.
And then it's like, just sharing, just like so much aloha, right? So much of that aloha going on. And it's like, this is what it should be. This is what, the world should be like. People just giving and being generous and giving from their heart without the expectation of anything in return.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I remember they were saying that there's certain places that they offer certain things, or like this is a place that does this. This is the place that offers.
You can go get pizza over here. Yeah. You can go jump on trampolines and they'll like, hook you up to stuff so you can do all kinds of spins and tricks. This one you can do, this game, or this one they have like, dim sum. There's like dim sum camp. There's like bao camp. There's like ramen camp. There's, like, people are, offering drinks and stuff like that. You just have to be grateful.
Yeah.
That's all they ask in return is your gratitude and kindness.
Cool. So you go every year?
I've gone for the last 3 Burning Mans, and this will be my 4th.
Okay, awesome. When is it?
It's always the last weekend of August and into the first weekend of September.
Okay. Oh, that's coming up.
Yeah, right after I get back from Europe.
Okay, awesome. Super cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, mahalo for sharing that. I have to look into it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think you would appreciate it, and I think you would find a lot of similarities with Hawaiian culture.
Yeah, and I love being disconnected as well.
Yeah. Well, nowadays you got Starlink, yeah.
Well, yeah. But I mean, in the sense of like, you're just kind of away from it all. And like, now.
You can always tell people you didn't have access.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't have to say no, sorry. But it rang 8 times. Like, oh, sorry, I don't know.
Yeah.
It said you forwarded it. It said message received. I saw your text. It said read.
Yeah. No, Starlink came in really handy last year for a lot of people who were stranded. Like, they missed their flights or stuff like that, and everybody was like passing out their codes so other people could use their Starlink or whatever. So, it's that kind of community. Like, you'll never have to worry about, going hungry or not having enough water or whatever, because the playa will provide.
Awesome. The playa will provide. I love that.
That's a saying over there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, before we end the podcast, I want to know, what is your life hack?
Oh, my life hack. I feel like my biggest life hack is living well within my means. Like I said earlier, I don't drive fancy cars. I don't have designer handbags. It might look like it, but it's not.
Just a knockoff kind.
Not knockoff kind. Exactly. I'm not ashamed.
Yeah.
I feel like, I've always been very modest in my living. I lived in the same condo for 30 years. I've had like roommates to help me pay the mortgage and, rent or whatever, whenever. And that has allowed me to have this freedom now in life and be able to, if I have to retire, I can retire, have the comfort of just being able to live without worrying now about what am I going to do, if I cannot find work. And so, yeah, my biggest life hack is just living well within my means and not showing off. All the diamonds and the dresses and stuff that you see, that's all borrowed. All of that stuff goes back to their owners, and I just get to look fancy for one night. Yeah.
That's what I learned recently when I was out for the first time. I hosted the HIF Awards last year.
Oh, yeah.
And then I just reached out to somebody. I was like, I don't know how this works, but like, can you style me because I suck at fashion? And he's like, yeah, you just borrow it and you give it back. I'm like, that's all? And like you post them in pictures and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know that's how it worked.
That is how it works.
So cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So all of these fancy dresses that you see on the red carpets and, you know, all these different events. I was just on a panel with Lucy Liu in DC, and she was wearing this beautiful brocade dress that had this big skirt and everything. And everybody was telling her, "Oh, that's so beautiful. Your dress is so beautiful." And she was like, "Yeah, I have to give it back." I mean, that's the reality. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yep, exactly. That's what I hear a lot in the music scene as well.
Yep. Yeah. Same thing.
Okay. Well, I got my last fast fave 5 questions. These are just rapid fire answers, okay?
Okay.
Favorite way to recharge?
Oh, favorite way to recharge? Oh, sleep. Sleep. I don't get enough of that these days. And I just would love it if I could just sleep through a whole night. That would be awesome.
Is it because you have to wake up early, or is it because like your mind's always going and you can't?
It's my
stay?
Mind and menopause. If we're going to be honest.
Okay, because I was thinking, sometimes I can't sleep through the night, but then I don't have the menopause.
No, you don't have that excuse.
Yeah. I don't have that excuse. Okay. Favorite post-work snack?
Post anything snack is ramen. I love my ramen.
Do you have a favorite spot on island?
On island, no, I don't have a favorite spot. I just like to go wherever it's good.
Okay, Kamitoku ramen is my favorite. It's not far from here. It's at Ward.
Okay, Kamitoku.
Kamitoku. I think they're like number 1 on Yelp or something.
Oh, really?
They're so good.
Okay.
They're like comparable to like Japan ramen.
Oh.
Yeah.
I haven't had Japan ramen in decades.
The broth is like made in a certain way.
But also I'm doing more a vegan thing these days.
No, I think it's vegan. Oh, actually no.
They have vegan
I don't
option?
remember if that's vegan, but I just went there. Golden Pork, I think it's called. They have vegan ramen.
That doesn't sound like they would, yeah?
No, yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, because I had friends visited town and they're vegan, so I took them over there. And Tane, have you been to Tane? Sushi?
Tane.
It's sushi.
No.
It's vegan sushi.
Oh.
It's good. It's not far. It's on King Street, I think.
Okay. So much more vegan stuff to choose from nowadays. Yeah. It's so much easier.
Yeah, but you should check out Tane.
Okay, I will.
I went with another. I went twice because I had 2 separate friends that were vegan.
Okay.
And it's
right on.
It's good stuff. Yeah. Okay. Favorite hobby?
I don't know. Is Burning Man a hobby?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's my favorite hobby nowadays. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Well, it's like it's a yearly hobby, but it's like all year you got to prepare. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, the things that you learn, the life lessons that you carry throughout your life. It's
absolutely.
From that. Okay. Favorite book?
Ooh. I listen to a lot of books because I do a lot of driving. I drive a lot between LA and Vegas now. So I listen to a lot of books. And the book that I always recommend is fun. It's Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah's Born a Crime. It's like I don't know, is it 8 hours? 8 hour? It's like a 8 hour stand-up. He's so funny. He's so funny. And then also recently, when I was shooting BMF, I had to make all of these references to Moby Dick in this one episode. And so the writer was like, when he found out that I've never read Moby Dick, he's like, oh, you should read it. So I was like, maybe I'll just listen to it so I could do it like, while I'm doing other things, right? You can kind of just listen to the book. And I actually, coincidentally, the narrator who was doing Moby Dick was a friend of mine who had passed away.
Wow.
And it was so fun to listen to him do this book. So I tell everybody, if you're gonna read Moby Dick, listen to this book, this audio book, because he does it so well. It's so entertaining. His name is William Hootkins, and it was so beautiful. It was like a visit from him, you know,
Oh,
getting
that's so
to
cool.
getting to hear his voice and him doing his thing. And then at the end of it, when it ended, oh, it makes me cry right now. I cried because it was like he was going away again.
Yeah. Oh, it's like a movie, you know, in a book.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like cementing their legacy, you know, right at the into that little thing. It's awesome. It's a great way. That's what I think about all these things that we have on media these days, is that after we're gone, people are going to be able to see us for years.
Do you
know?
think they're going to though? Because I don't know. I feel like there's going to be so much media around. Like, who's going to look back at all of this? Is like 100 years from now, are people going to care about Scorpion King? You know what I mean?
Things are timeless. Some things are timeless.
Yeah, but like, are we watching movies that happened 100 years ago? Wait, were movies done? Yeah, almost.
I think some people there's some people, or there's
some people maybe
at least in a generation, like people still remember X-Men, and that was like what 27.
Yes, but that is recent. But like literally 100 years ago from now, like are people going to? There's going to be so much.
I'm not sure because there's more media like.
So yeah, I have all of these articles and, you know, like even the little blurbs that have come out in like these gossip columns. Like I saved all of it and I got piles and piles and boxes and boxes, like all stacked up in my house in Vegas. And I'm like, what am I going to do with all of this?
Family.
They don't care. They don't want it. My mom gave all my stuff back to me when she moved. She was like, here, this is you. But like, I've been keeping all of this sentimental stuff for who? Like, I have one niece, but she's not going to want to get piled with all of this stuff. You know, she can just watch my movies. She's not going to care.
I have an idea. Find your biggest fan.
Find my
your
biggest fan.
Biggest fan in the world and just give it all to them.
Oh my God, that's so scary.
Your biggest fan's probably like a stalker or something, right?
Exactly. I don't know if I need that in my life. I tried to get rid of the ones that I have. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll be cool, just at least people in our immediate circle to always have, you know, they'll be like, that was my great, 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 great auntie or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It'll just be there. It'll be there for whoever wants to watch it.
we'd like to, our egos would like
Yeah.
to think that people would be interested in watching us.
No, but I think they would. Like, for example, you know, we talk about mo'okuahau and genealogy, and like you have to like go to books and like talk to people to try to find anything about, you know, whatever. Like, I don't have anything on like my grandparents, you know, like videos or whatever. So even just from that generation to now, you know, it'd be cool to like, if I have kids, you know, and they'll be like, that was my grandpa. They
Yeah.
can watch videos of you.
Yeah.
You know, so it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be maybe 100 years, but just like in that immediate generation, you know, I think it would be really cool to just see like, oh, look at grandpa, or look, even kids, you know, looking at their parents.
Yeah.
You know, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I guess, you know, for those of us who have chosen not to have children,
Yeah.
like, you know, we don't know who's going to pick up on
Yeah.
our legacy.
Yeah. Maybe because
You know.
you're not going down that route, you don't think it's as important.
Yeah.
But I think there are people who will care and will watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to save all that stuff, but
You're thinking more about storage right now. Upload it all online. Let it live in the cloud. Okay, last one. Favorite travel destination?
you know, like I said, I've been through what will be 59 countries, after this next trip. I was just talking about this because I went with my friend Erica Aresta, who is from Hawaii, and we both traveled to India for 1 month. And the experiences that we had there were absolutely incredible. And it could not be reproduced because we had a family friend of ours on my side, who was working he was the CEO of all the Taj hotels, and he just made our trip unbelievable. Like, just unforgettable. But like India itself, I mean, you have to be a seasoned traveler to be able to appreciate India because it is intense. It is not for the, faint of heart.
There's like 1 billion people there, right?
Yes. It's, the colors, the smells, the tastes, the noises, the music. I mean, everything is so intense. It's an assault on your senses.
It's like overstimulating sometimes.
It's overstimulating, but yet so amazing and awe-inspiring. And just learning about like the culture and the religion. We were there for a month and we barely scratched the surface. It was beautiful, and that's what I love doing. I love traveling and just having these kind of experiences where you're so out of your comfort zone that I feel like when we're out of our comfort zone is when we learn the most, right? And we just accept whatever, all kinds of information. And so like when you are in a foreign country where you don't speak the language and you have no idea of what's going on, you have all your senses have to be that much more heightened, right? And then you are just so much more aware of what's going on that you see these kids playing over there and you're like, what is that? What are they doing? What game are they playing? Or what is this food? Wow. Or what kind of dog is that? Like things that you would never even notice in your daily life. So, when you travel, you are just so much more open and aware and willing to take in information. That's where I wish I could kind of exist, for most of my life.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the beautiful things happen outside of our comfort zone.
Yes.
So many beautiful things. Okay. Bonus question, because I know this is my last Fast Fave 5, but I want to make a 6 because now I just came to my mind. Who's the favorite celebrity that you've met?
Oh, that's so hard. Favorite celebrity that I've met? I mean, I've met so many very, very cool people. And so many of them have been so kind and generous and funny. Actors are funny, man. We're crazy.
Yeah.
But I guess Tia, because we have so much in common that, so much history, both being from Hawaii, both coming up in the business at the same time, that we can laugh about stuff that nobody else understands.
Yeah, there's a deeper level of understanding.
Yeah.
With these two,
Yeah.
It's like when you see that one person with a Hawaii shirt in Vegas or like anywhere in the world, you're just like, we get each other.
Right?
Yeah.
In Vegas, I mean, that's so common,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
That's
And
like
somewhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But if you're like in Spain, I was in Spain. I was in Barcelona last year and I met a guy from Hawaii.
Exactly.
He was like, like bartending and I was like, oh, hey.
Yeah, the automatic connection, yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's just like this automatic aloha that you
yeah.
have. Yeah.
Super cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Only because you're wearing the yellow jacket right now. How was it meeting Hugh Jackman? And working with Hugh
I was like,
Jackman?
what does yellow have to do with it? Okay. He is so nice, such a gentleman, and very, very professional, and always, always kind and smiling, and just, I can't say enough beautiful things about him. Just a wonderful human being.
Yeah.
And anybody who has ever worked with him that I have come into contact says the same thing.
Awesome.
That he's just a super, super nice guy.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Ryan Reynolds, of course, he looks really funny just and a nice person.
I have yet to meet him, but I expect him to be pretty funny.
Sure, that's what you have to say, huh? All right, well let's end the podcast before we get you in trouble. Because I don't.
You
even
were
know.
trying to trap me, huh?
Yeah. I was like, let's stop recording before I start asking questions I shouldn't ask. Well, I just want to say mahalo for coming in and talking stories with us. It's so great to meet you. You have great energy. And
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been awesome seeing your career unfold in my life, my 31 years of life.
Ooh, so old.
I miss so much. I still gotta watch a lot of the things that you've been in. Oh, I forgot. Arrow. You were in Arrow.
I was
That was one of my favorite shows.
Was it?
Yeah, I used to watch it in college.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I didn't
that
finish
was fun.
it because I joined the Peace Corps.
Oh.
So I left in 2016, so I didn't get to finish it. So maybe I gotta go back and finish that series.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
love the Arrow.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, but let us know if there's anything you want to share with the audience. If not, tell us where we can find you.
Well, you can find me at Kelly Hu on Facebook, Instagram. I don't do TikTok just because I cannot get sucked into that whole.
We all understand.
Yeah,
Say
I already
less.
don't have time.
Yeah.
Right.
We get
But
it.
yeah, Twitter. Yeah, I managed to get all my handles. So yeah, at Kelly Hu on all of that. Also, check out Shoes Off Inside, the podcast, where we talk about all kinds of stuff from politics to menopause to sex to all kind of fun stuff. Funny sometimes.
Yeah, I caught a couple of clips. You guys are a great crew.
Yeah. And then and that's it. Just go out there and spread the aloha. Spread the aloha, everybody.
Right on. Mahalo, Kelly, for joining us on the Keep It Aloha podcast. Spread love, be kind to one another, and mahalo for listening to us today. We have new episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. I'm your host, Kamaka, and remember to always keep it aloha.